The following program, offered by Fox 19, includes lawyers licensed in Kentucky. For those lawyers to maintain compliance with the Kentucky Bar Association requirements, the phrase, "This is an advertisement," must appear on the screen. Moore Law is underwritten in the public interest by the Moore Law Firm, a legal professional association. This is Moore Law on Fox 19.
Welcome to More Law. Today we're talking about medicine and the law. Countless people have needed a doctor's help at some point. We rely on them to help us get better. And sometimes you might need a lawyer to get the person at fault to pay for your medical care. So how do doctors and lawyers work together? What if the party that's at fault is the doctor or the hospital? We're taking your questions about medicine and the law right now. Give us a call at 513-421-4691. Don Moore, how are you this morning?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Deb?
Good. Well, it's good, except getting in here, I'm freezing out there.
Yeah, well, the weather took a little turn for the worse.
I guess it was bound to happen.
Yeah, we had a little trick-or-treating activity this Saturday at church, and the wind kind of put a damper on things.
So it was outside at church?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they call it trunk or treat, and the kids walk around from car to car and collect candy.
You didn't invite me.
Yeah,
I'm kind of a big kid at heart when it's candy.
Yeah, well, sorry about that.
Maybe
next year. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
You're excited about today.
I am. This is going to be a lot of fun. Today, my oldest son, Jason Moore, is here.
Welcome.
Hey,
Thank
Jason.
you.
And Jason is a board-certified ER doc. He lives in Detroit, and he practices medicine in Detroit. He also does traveling doctor work, where he is an ER physician where they have trouble getting ER physicians to go. Like he's done Sioux City, Iowa. He's done Minot, North Dakota. He's done the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. And he also does missionary work. In fact, we've got a couple of photos. He's kind of single-handedly building a church and a medical mission down in the country of Panama. You can see a little picture there, and basically they serve the population of Panama. Jason, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, I don't know if I'd say I'm doing it single-handedly, but it's a.
That's your dad talking now. Yeah. Come on.
It's a church and medical clinic that we're building there. We do this as associated with the church. We do it for kind of bring the healing of Jesus to people spiritually and physically. So we're working on building a long-standing medical clinic that can really do it on an ongoing basis.
Wow, what a wonderful legacy. I mean, that's just wonderful.
Well, that's the hope. We're working on it.
Okay, well, good luck.
He goes around and basically talks to churches and solicits funds to help support that, and they've been working on it for about 5 or 6 years.
All right. Well, best of luck with it.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to our first call now. We have Susie in Falmouth. Good morning, Susie.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing good, honey. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your call.
Well, yes, ma'am. My call is regarding a physician here that I've had for over the years, and I wanted. He's given me a shot in my hip, and it's for the hole plumb to the bone of my hip. He's had me on psychiatry medicine forever. He says he don't believe in psychiatrists. I've been begging him, please send me to a psychiatrist. I keep taking this medicine. I tell him it don't do me no good. He keeps telling me keep taking it. So I have been on several kinds. It's not none of it helping. And also, there's a couple other questions that I'm sorry that I can't remember right now, but I had them all wrote down. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just want to know what I can do about this doctor. And also, one thing else, I was on narcotics. He had me on for about 5 years, narcotics, a Valium and a Vicodin ESs. Mm-hmm. He took me straight off of those. He did not wean me off of them. I had to go to the hospital. I didn't know what in the world was happening to me. Right. Somebody told me that I was going into DTs. Okay, I went to the hospital. They sent me home. I didn't know what happened to me. That's never happened to me in my life. But I don't think that's right. That doctor, I mean, I'm on blood pressure medication, and that could have sent me into a heart attack.
Okay, Susie, let's talk a little bit. Jason, I mean, I don't know if the question there is when is it time to, go to another doctor, or what would you suggest for Susie?
Well, I mean, that's one thing that I think a lot of people necessarily don't really really think that they have a choice with their doctor, that they can, if there's something that they are dissatisfied with, they can find another doctor and look for other care, and just, I guess, see what their options are.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of discretion that goes into the management of patients on narcotics. Am I correct?
Yes, actually, managing narcotics can be pretty complicated. In fact, they have pain management specialists who are trained specifically in knowing what the correct doses are and tailoring it to the individual person.
Is it tough though? Because I think if we were to say, you know, if you think you have a problem with your doctor, you have a problem with your doctor. But I would think like there is, you know, there are situations where, you know, the doctor is right.
Yeah, now that's the other thing is just because you don't like what the doctor says doesn't mean you need another doctor. I mean, it may be that that's correct and that's the best option for you. And there's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. I think a lot of doctors probably, you may think that a doctor might be offended by that or something, but a lot of doctors are usually fine with it.
Okay. All right, great. Let's take another call now. We have Ruth in Cincinnati. Go ahead, Ruth.
I have a problem using an ointment that for arthritis and pain, and I used it for 5 days, and for 2 weeks now, I've had fire red on my skin.
So you've got, sounds like maybe you've got a reaction to the ointment, is that right?
Right.
That's fairly common, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a difference between a reaction, which could be a side effect, and a reaction, which is an allergic reaction. So an allergic reaction is something that potentially would be dangerous because it can progress to actually cut off your airway and could be life-threatening, versus a side effect, which is sort of an irritating thing that you should just discontinue the medicine. In both situations, you should discontinue the medicine in most cases.
And so that's just worth a call to the doctor to say, I had this reaction.
Correct, yeah. Okay. And a lot of times the doctor might need to see it personally, but to determine whether it's a true allergy.
Okay. All right, we are going to take a break right now, and we'll be back with Jason Moore, Don Moore, and Dan Moore will be here too. Stay with us.
Welcome back to More Law on Fox 19, your legal questions live, with local broadcaster and award-winning reporter Deb Haas and Cincinnati personal injury attorney Don Moore, recognized by Ohio super lawyers. More answers, more help, more law on Fox 19.
All right, now we'll take you to Dan Moore over in the Moore Law Connection area. Dan?
Hey, thanks, Deb. A bunch of Moores this morning. It's a good thing I got my own segment because it'd be hard to get a word in edgewise. This morning we have our first question from Trent. He says, I have a new car and took it for the first oil change. The people I took it to didn't put the oil cap back on, so my engine froze. They are saying they didn't do it and that I can't prove that they did. How can I get them to pay for my damages? Well, these situations are tough because finding the evidence and using that to prove your case can be difficult. The law says that the person bringing the claim has the burden of proof. It's a fancy term. Basically just means that in a civil case you have to prove with the greater than 50% likelihood that what they did, the people changing your oil, was wrong, one, and two, what they did wrong caused the damage to your car. How do you do that? You do that with witnesses saying that what they did was wrong and what they did caused your damage, with witnesses demonstrating what you did didn't have any effect on what happened to your car. You can use physical evidence like documents, things from the dealership or this maintenance outfit that say that they actually performed the oil change. Documents that say that you didn't take it anywhere else. Those are all pieces of evidence that you need to prove this claim. If you don't do it quickly, though, you can lose that evidence. So if there's any hope here at all, it's to act quick and use the evidence that you can get to prove this claim. Deb?
All right, thanks, Dan. My dad would say learn to change your own oil. But, and we are back now with Dr. Jason Moore. Thanks for joining us today.
Sure, glad to be here.
Absolutely. And we want to go right back to the phones. We have John in Alexandria as we are talking about medicine and the law. Go ahead, John.
Yes, I've been in pain for the last 25 years. I was totally disabled by Social Security and been through several pain management doctors. The last pain management doctor accepted my Medicare as the payment. He's being investigated by the DEA right now, and I'm not able to find a new pain management doctor who will take me. I've been to several pain managed doctors in the area, and any of his patients they won't accept. And here I am stuck and not able to find a pain management doctor.
Okay, any thoughts for Johnny?
Well, that sounds like a real dilemma, and one of the things that we would recommend if he came to me, and I'm going to be anxious to see what Jason has to say, is that if you get into an extreme situation, you can go to somebody like Jason, which is at an emergency room. Now, of course, Jason's not here in town, but you can go to an emergency room if you're in an extreme situation. As far as getting a local doctor to accept patients of a doctor who has been in trouble with the law, that's not an issue I, as a lawyer, face very often. Jason, is that something you've come in contact with or had problems with?
No, not too much. I mean, definitely there are certain physicians who do get in trouble with that they are misusing their license to use controlled substances. But for the most part, you know, one I guess good option for you might be to use your primary physician, because your primary physician is a great interface with other professionals and specialists. So I would recommend that you go to your primary physician to try and find yourself a different pain management specialist.
Okay, we wish you luck with that, John. And now we'll go to Kimberly in Cincinnati. Kimberly, you had carpal tunnel surgery, and there's some problems?
Yes, it is. I had a carpal tunnel and also a trigger finger release in February, and now down the road here, I'm experiencing the same thing on the same hand.
Is there? I've heard of people have this issue where you have that surgery, but it doesn't necessarily solve the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's true with a lot of surgeries, where you get the surgery and you're hoping it's going to make you good as new again, and it doesn't work. Well, it's your best option is always to go back with the surgeon who did the procedure. Talk with the surgeon and see what is the best option. That surgeon is going to be the one who knows best your case and specifically what was done during the surgery, and then where to take it from there.
One of the things that's also important for you to know, Kimberly, is that a bad result or not a positive result does not necessarily mean that the doctor did anything wrong. He may have done everything just the way he was trained. He may have done exactly the way he was supposed to do it, and still not a good result. That happens a fair amount. That's one of the things that makes medical negligence claims very difficult.
Okay. All right, let's go back over to Dan Moore now with another email question. Dan?
Okay, Susan asks us this morning, am I responsible for anything if kids play with my yard decorations and get hurt? The answer is really no. There's very little chance that you'd ever be held responsible for kids playing with your yard decorations. There is a very minor exception that gets blown out of proportion. It's called the attractive nuisance doctrine, another fancy legal term. And the textbook case of an attractive nuisance for kids is a swimming pool. And that's where something is created on your property that causes kids to want to come on your property. You know kids come on your property. It's dangerous. They could get killed or seriously injured, and you do nothing to stop it. You could be held liable if one of those kids falls in your pool and is killed or seriously injured. However, we're talking about yard decorations, totally on the opposite end of the spectrum. Assuming that there's nothing especially dangerous about this yard decoration or any of the things that you have in your yard, it's just not something to worry about. So if you're worrying about something and you have a question, go to the Fox 19 website and click the More Law link, fill out the Send Us Your Questions form, and send it over to us, and we'll do our best to answer your question. Deb, that's all I've got for here today. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan. And we are going to take a break right now. We'll be back. Give us a call about your questions concerning medicine and the law.